We have a presentation on Route 18 the Route 18 construction project and its status, and this will be presented to us by the New Jersey Department of Transportation Rehabilitation Project Team. DOT members, the floor is yours.
Thank you. If you don't mind, I'm going to turn it just a little bit so people don't have my back to them. Is that okay?
Well, the presentation is being delivered
Yeah, to you.
to us.
Okay, no problem. I didn't know.
How about halfway? I like
Yeah,
the
I was just
angle.
going to tilt it a little bit.
right.
I just having my back. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. So, good evening, everyone. My name is Meredith Hammond. I am with the Office of Community Relations. I'm the Deputy Director. I have a whole slew here, but I'm not going to mention all their names. We're going to come up, a few of us, to make the presentation. As you mentioned, it is our Route 18 project. We've been out here for quite some time. I'm sure you all are like, when are we going to get done? So we'll be talking about that as well with our construction and the staging of everything. We're going to also provide you an overview of the project. We're going to provide you where we are with our staging. We're going to give you my contact information for anybody who needs to follow up with me. I'm going to ask, if you can, hold questions to the end because they might be answered. Anything else? I think that's going to cover it, and I'll be back up at the end. So I'm going to turn it over to JP.
Thank you, Meredith. Good evening. My name is J.P. Revetier. I'm with HNTB Corporation. HNTB was the designer for the project for the DOT. Before we start getting into the current stage of the project and the traffic impacts and staging and all that, I'm just going to give a brief overview of the project and what it entails. So you can see from this map, this is just a very high-level view of the project limits. It starts at the southern end, just south of Ruse Lane, at about milepost 35.4 of Route 18. It extends 4 miles approximately to the north, just terminating just south of the Route 18 passing over the New Jersey Turnpike. Within those limits, some of the major intersections that it passes through are Ruse Lane, Granbury Road, Milltown Road, and Old Bridge Turnpike. So the purpose, need, and benefits of the project, one of the first items that was identified for the initial need for the project is to rehabilitate the pavement between those mileposts. So we have areas of the right lane and shoulder areas that were substandard pavement depth that will be repaired to full depth. The original use of the roadway was as a shoulder, and then at some point in time it was converted to a lane, but it was still riding on a thinner pavement section. So those areas will be reconstructed to a full depth. In addition, the entire width of the roadway will be resurfaced by the end of the job. The project will also serve to alleviate drainage deficiencies and flooding. There are some areas of Route 18 in this corridor that were known as high incidence of flooding, and the improvements that we're going to institute by this project will help alleviate those sections. In addition, as I mentioned, the intersections that I mentioned before, as well as a few other ones that are within the corridor, are going to get safety and operation updates by having new traffic signals put in to current standards, as well as new lighting at those intersections. We're also going to be improving pedestrian connectivity in that there are sections of existing sidewalk that are not up to ADA code. Those will be upgraded to ADA compliance code. And we also had missing sections of sidewalk throughout the corridor, that those sections will be completed now to improve connectivity throughout the corridor. As a result of primarily the drainage work that we're doing with this project, there were many utility conflicts. As I mentioned, it's all new drainage through here, new crossings of Route 18 with new drainage pipe. So that necessitated relocations of several utilities. Primary to those utility relocations, we have a 24-inch PS&G gas main that's being relocated pretty much throughout the entire corridor in this area. There's also the 12-inch water main for East Brunswick. A majority of the water main within these sections is being replaced. We've been working very closely with Keith Kipp, our engineering department, and we've had a good relationship with them, dealing with both design and construction issues that have come up, and we've worked to resolve them with him. Lastly, I want to mention on here, as it relates to utilities, we have some sporadic Verizon fiber optic duct bank relocations. Again, just spot places where we need to relocate the fiber because it conflicts with some type of underground drainage feature that we're putting with the project. So the contract was awarded to Earl Asphalt, the state's contractor, in the summer of 2022. They got started with construction in the field in earnest in January of 2023. Currently, we're anticipating the project completion to be in early 2028, although substantial completion of the project will be likely sometime in the fall of 2027. Since the award of the contract, there's been some items of additional work added to it. One of them was the addition of about 6,000 linear feet of center median concrete barrier. The reason for this was the way that the project was designed initially. We were just replacing sections of the barrier that were in direct conflict with the drainage that we're putting in. Once we get out here, we realized that many more sections were not in good shape. There's evidence of spalling, or the grade elevation was not quite what it should be with the roadway. So the state decided to add to the contract the amount of barrier that I mentioned here to basically complete it from one end to the other. Additionally, more recently added to the project was nearly 8,000 linear feet of additional gas main relocation. Initially, just like I said before, with some of the drainage work and the barrier, we were only touching sections of the gas main where there was a direct conflict with the drainage. What wound up happening with that is we had a lot of tie-ins along the way, and these tie-ins are probably going to be the biggest point of contention for traffic impacts. Well, by completing the relocation of the gas main from essentially one end to the other, we've eliminated a significant amount of tie-ins. Essentially, I think we've got it down to a quarter of what we initially had in there for gas tie-ins. So it should have a positive impact on the
Give us a
traffic.
quick definition of a tie-in.
So a tie-in is where we have to tie in the new gas main into the old gas main. So if you think about it, if you're only completing sections of that, or segments along the way sporadically, each time you tie in a new section, you have to have the tie-in at one end and the other. So by constructing a longer run of gas, then there's less tie-in points along the project corridor that we have to tie into.
And do you have situations where you, all of us, surprise, guess what we found today? And
Oh, those-
I'm being sarcastic in my body language, but is it a problem?
I mean, there hasn't been anything that we haven't been able to resolve, but
There
yes,
you go.
certainly, there's been surprises along the way, but that's typical
Goes with
of
the
jobs like
territory.
this, yes, absolutely. Anytime I wish we had a crystal ball to see what's under the ground, or we made these roads out of glass so we could actually see what's under there, but that's not always the case. So we do our best to anticipate what's out there, but of course, there's always something that pops up that we have to manage. And today we've been able to deal with everything, and again, that's with a great deal of help from Keith Kipp has been an excellent asset to our, to helping our team out with resolving things. So it's really been a good working relationship. The last thing I want to mention in here, as far as additional work that's been added since the start of the project, is an extension of the state's fiber optic network. Essentially, the fiber optic system, and this is really for the DOT's system of communications. We're replacing the infrastructure within the project corridor, but then it was identified during the construction of the project that there would be a benefit of extending that fiber optic system replacement down to the next hub, if you will, of where things tie in together that are outside the project limits. The extension that we're doing as part of this project does not require any additional roadway to be torn up. It's just literally pulling conduit through pulling fiber through existing conduit. So it should be pretty seamless as far as any type of impact to traffic through the area. It'll just be work that'll be done behind the curb, basically. So that was added more recently. And again, those are all the things that have kind of brought us to where we are with the current schedule of the project. So. I know part of the purpose for this presentation was to give you an update on where we are with traffic and the staging and the traffic impacts. So with that, I'm going to turn over the presentation to Jignesh Patel, who's the resident engineer for the DOT. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jignesh Patel, resident engineer for the New Jersey Department of Transportation, and I'm a representative from the department and handling the whole job, the Route 18. I'm responsible for the oversight, the work, what the contractor does for the lane closure, whatever the business have any issue or any complaints, I'm the person who's dealing with it. So tonight, I'm going to give you a little bit update for the project, how it's going. As you can see, the contract was awarded on summer 2022, and today we are in 2024, so almost it's 2 years is gone. And work is being done in constant speed, day and night, on both sides of the Route 18 within a project limit. Since this project limit is 4.5 miles, which is just south of the Turnpike Bridge, to all of just south of the Rouge Lane. So that's the 4.5 mile of the project limit. The updates, current staging is, you can see is northbound right lane is from the Iker Avenue to Arthur Street, which is closed right now. And northbound left lane closed, Racetrack Road to the southern limit, somewhere around by the Gusto Grill is. Another closure on southbound side, it's the left lane closure, Iker Avenue to Cindy Way. That's staging just done on a week ago. So this is our current situation. The proposed long-term traffic pattern, it's just south of the Racetrack Road to all the way up to the Conrail Bridge, which is Iker Avenue. And we are setting up the left lane closure with permanent barrier curb on both sides. And as you can see, it's like a 2 yellow, which is our 24-inch gas main tie-in, which is like our old existing gas main to the new gas main. And that's going to happen sometimes in next summer, 2025. And the timing for the tie-in is Friday night, 10 p.m. to Monday morning, 5 a.m. That's going to be around the clock, the operation. And Route 18 southbound at that time is only one lane open to the traffic. So proposed long-term traffic pattern, the work area is set up in median, and northbound, southbound, 2 lanes is going to be maintained during the daytime. The detour within the project corridor, the plans are already set up, the detour plans for the specific any street closure. So this is a gas main tie-in, the time schedule. That's going to be in the weekend closure, 9:30 or 10 o'clock Friday to 5 a.m. Monday morning. And maximum, there was a 12 closure over the 4 years period. Seasonally restricted to occur between April to October. And Route 18 southbound to Grot Lane, 15-minute slowdown and full stops. They may occur maybe 12 a.m. to 4 a.m. It's as needed basis. It's not required all the time. This is final condition, 3 lanes plus the little bit shoulder on southbound side. 3 lanes, final resurfacing. This is a picture of the gas main, aerial photographs for the median from the south tightest lane to somewhere in the Highland Street. Water main ongoing, the drainage structure, the fiber optics line somewhere here. This is a fiber optics line, relocation, new drainage structure. This is somewhere around the Racetrack Road. Brand new, the water main for the township. I want to say the big thank you to East Brunswick Police Department. In the last 2 years, I mean, we have several emergency on the job site, and their quick response on the job site and make the situation like a safe for the motorists and for the citizens. So I want to thank to Police Department of the East Brunswick. Any questions for the Meredith? Now back to you.
We're going to turn it back over to you all. If you have any questions, like I said, I have a whole team here to answer any of your questions or concerns. And if you don't, we will always be around to answer all questions and concerns. Joe definitely knows my email address.
We were told a four-year project. And so if things began in 2022, we are halfway through. So are we halfway through?
I would say we're close to it.
Okay. Yeah, you never, I mean, I'm not in construction. I'm into running governments. So you're going to have
There's
delays and all that kind of stuff that goes with it. I get that. And so it's not as if you said to me, oh, boy, we're really behind schedule. But again, the community was told repeatedly through Mayor Cohn's efforts that it's going to be a four-year project. And so we're 2 years into it, and we're 2 years into it. Thank you.
Go ahead.
On this, we don't find any surprise. Surprise like between the Tices, just north of the Tices, right by the Walmart area, we found the two giant culvert, which is, I don't know, 1920s culvert.
Two giant, what, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
The culvert, it's
You want to come over here? Jignish, come here.
This way it gets recorded.
Yeah, so in the last year, we found the big giant culvert, which has been used for the railroad, taking the material from the one side of the highway to another side of the highway. The structure was around like 18 feet wide, 16 feet tall, concrete structure, 2.5 feet wide, the concrete wall. And there was no indication in the plans, and nobody knows, no statement, never knew that structure is there. Thanks to Keith Kipp from the Township engineer, I mean, he gave us the plans, and it shows into the plan, 1927's plans of the Route 18 construction. So,
Right.
yeah, that was a surprise, big surprise.
Big surprise.
Yep.
I like your facial expressions. You know, you got to deal with it.
Yes, yeah. So, yeah, we try to stick at 4 years, but unless we find no more of the surprises, then, yeah.
No more surprises.
Yeah. Yep, thank you.
Didn't know Keith was working here in 1927.
Right. He looks good for a guy. Yes, please.
Well, you referred earlier to shutdowns and 15-minute shutdowns and slowdowns. Was that referring to the entire northbound or southbound stretch, or just specific lanes?
Just this weekend.
Okay, thank you.
And those
Just stay up here.
Those closure is, it's not like, it's planned. Sometimes like the contractor needs like moving some big the equipments or big materials or big giant structures from the one place to another place. It's safe to the motorists and so safe to the work zone. We would like to have like a 15-20 minutes closure just to move those materials, and we be able to open it right away.
Mayor.
Just, thanks. Just wanted to remind you that there have been a couple of times during the project, and while we do have a good relationship and we can get through to the department pretty quickly, but there have been a couple of times during the project where the estimate of closing roads that they'd be open by 5 o'clock in the morning didn't take place. And so what ended up happening is that there was no notification to the township, which makes us unable to put the motoring public aware that that was going to take place. And of course, it just destroys rush hour, which is already a problem because of the number of lanes that are closed to begin with. And then they get rerouted down Old Bridge Turnpike, and you didn't realize that Old Bridge Turnpike was getting work done because they had a water main break on, or some sort of, what was the issue? Water main break? They had a big problem with their water. So we were rerouting people through South River.
South River had a water main
So
problem.
I guess the question is, can we all make sure that if these type of things happen, which are unpredictable, everybody gets that, but that there be a greater effort to make sure that notification goes out to those of us who are responsible for letting the public know that it's going to be an unusually bad day on top of a days that they've gotten used to being bad to begin with. That's all.
Absolutely, we'll take it priority. And, I mean, we have the system, the traffic operation, whenever incidents happen, whenever it's like in events of the, like later in construction, we usually notify the traffic operation and they notify the communities right away. But if some reason the East Brunswick didn't get the notification, I'll make sure it's.
Right, I think most of the public understands that there's going to be a period of time that everyone's going to be inconvenienced. Whether they like it or not, that's just the way it is, and ultimately, at the end, it will be better. It's just the lack of notification of things that are controllable that I think gets people even more upset, and it doesn't take much to get people upset when they're already sitting in traffic.
No, understood, but we'll take a more priority on that.
Thank
Yep.
you.
Council President. During these emergency detours and all of that, who's responsible for designing the routes of the detours, and who's responsible for traffic control? I know it can ideally put a strain on our police department during certain shifts in these emergency situations.
Yes, it's happened in the past. Whenever the emergency occur, I mean, the first response is done by the East Brunswick, the police. Then we have a state police on a job site, and after certain incidents, like we have a number of police on a job site, like every night. If the situation gets worse, then our traffic, the DOT maintenance folks, have come out there and set up the detour, set up the traffic controls. And then we have the emergency office management, they also come out and notify the people. So, yes.
But who
Also,
determines the routes?
contractor is also responsible for the set up the detour and the traffic control, yes.
But I mean, there's no traffic engineer that designs the detour route or anything?
Most of the time, I mean, we have in the plans, all the detour, it's set by the designers. So usually, like whenever we have the Texas Lane closure or the Milltown Road closure or any site is closure, the beauty of the project, we have the Old Beach Turnpike and Summer Hill Road is a parallel to the Route 18. So we usually shift the traffic on both roads. But yes, contractor is more responsible for the setup, the traffic control, plus our duty maintenance people is going to be there, and they also set up the detours
And should you need East Brunswick Police to assist with detours, are we billing either the contractor or the state for the hours of those officers as we would on a normal traffic job?
I don't know. That's probably like the Scranton would know.
Chief, do you know the answer to that?
I do.
Sorry.
So there had been a problem in the past. We had after an after action plan when there was a major incident that had happened on the highway. As a result of that, we identified some deficiencies. State Police is handling the work zone. It has nothing to do with us. We pointed out to the engineering department to come up with a plan, and we divided it into sections of the highway. We didn't. We asked them to do that so that there's an immediate plan. So the unforeseen circumstances is usually an unmarked gas line that's been hit. But it's been problematic where we pretty much tie up our entire police force to set down a major highway in our town. So we've relied on establishing a further relationship with the New Jersey State Police, saying that we'll do it temporarily, but you have to deploy people. And that's something that we've worked on. Hopefully those plans are in place so they can move quickly. And then as long as the State Police honors that agreement to bring in extra road troopers so that we can alleviate our personnel, that would be helpful.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you as well.
I'm good.
Okay, we're good. Let's
Can-
move on.
Can this proposal or this, presentation here be forwarded via email to?
Sure.
Already done. So-
It is? All right.
Yep. Meredith, I'd like to thank you personally for setting this up. I didn't realize you're bringing a busload of people. I would have charged you per person. But we appreciate you coming out and you're working with the community and Keith and Dan in the Water Sewer Department. I know our water guys know you pretty well as well. So thank you very much for your cooperation.